G'day, I'm Ash. Welcome yourselves back to WarThunder. Hope you're enjoying the content recently. I certainly am enjoying it myself. And we're not talking about the MiG-23M today. We are going to talk about the MiG-27, however, because this screenshot just appeared on the forums from Spin. It does not have the wrong placement. It is where it is currently intended. Now, on the dev server, it's currently sitting underneath the attacker bomber line, which means that, you know, the wrong placement of the MiG-27 in the tech tree is, you know, an interesting stance indeed, because it means two things. One, the vehicle itself, while it might not be in the correct tech tree line, it doesn't really make sense for an attacker not to be in an attacker line. And yeah, I know it says MiG-27 and we have the MiG-23, you know, natural selection of just following, you know, order of progression, but MiG-27 is more of an attacker. In fact, the MiG-23 is more of an interceptor than an actual fighter, so in and of itself, this thing is really only useful as a ground attacker, or at least they've tried to advertise it as such, which is why they put it behind the Yak-28. They want you to grind down that line, despite the fact that Yak company has its own interceptors and own bombers and own fighters and so on and so forth. This machine's going to be particularly interesting, as it being in the wrong placement only makes sense if there were more additions from the other various Russian companies that exist in, well, the real world. For example, we have the MiG-25Pu, although there are many various different modifications, the Sukhoi Su-24, and we obviously have the Su-25 as well. Just to name a few, there's quite a number of variants of different aircraft. So why people are getting mad? Well, because it's line of succession, isn't it? There are plenty of vehicles to put in the game, and I'm sure that they will get there in due time. But at the present time, this vehicle is more of a bomber, despite it having an offensive capability for anti-aircraft roles, than you might necessarily think. And it is one gorgeous looking aircraft too, at that. The thing is, it's only got guided bombs, and obviously it does get R-60s, so is it a fighter or is it a bomber? Russian aircraft tend to need to defend themselves, and this being a swing-wing fighter as well, it's a little bit confusing. So yeah, I understand the controversy that this has stirred up, but at the same time, it's not going to change the fact that this is coming to WarThunder. You know, it's not going to change that this aircraft in itself is possibly one of the most anticipated jets of the patch, because of its, you know, exclusivity and that its multi-role use. People need to understand that, yeah, it's multi-role for a reason, and like its brother, the MiG-23M, I think the, you know, 27 will be slightly more usable because, well, the M isn't exactly cut out for close air support, although it is an interceptor in its original function. And sure, for sake of simplicity and for following logistical and alphabetical order, it's pretty alright, but, you know, what can you do? They're trying to make people diversify into other lines. This is one way you get people to actually play a vehicle, by shoving it behind a line that no one plays. Granted, a little confusing. The decision is a little baffling, but with this aircraft coming out, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And really, that's all I have to say here. Spin was right. There is no real way for it to be managed correctly, right? You could either put it in its own separate line, or, you know, as he said, it does not have the wrong placement. It is where it is currently intended. What is that? Well, Ganajin really wants to have separate lines all the way up to tech trees, and whether or not they add, you know, a separation at higher tiers when those trees get filled out with a lot more attacker and interceptor aircraft is yet to be known. Whether or not they'll add more experimental aircraft that the Russians played with, or whether they'll just sort of put it in the correct positioning in the tech tree is also unknown at this point as well. I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are and opinion is on this particular, I say issue, it's not really an issue at all, it's more just my OCD flaring the bloody blazes out. Should be directly underneath. Anyway, but as you see, missing spot there, plenty of room for rearranging the tech tree as needed. But again, that's just the MiG-27M. What else can you ask for? Well, there are lots of things, but we won't get into that one today. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today. My name is Ash, and I'll catch you in a video soon.